Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Popular Season 2, Episode 19, I Know What You Did Last Spring Break. So yeah, this is a parody of I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream, because Scream was a juggernaut of a movie and everybody was trying to cash in on it. And so did Ryan Murphy and Gina Matthews television show called Popular. This show ran on the WB for 2 seasons until it was canceled. It was ahead of its time and I've already talked about it. Go watch that. And yes, in true like Ryan Murphy fashion, it's a drama comedy with all his quirks and the way they talk and the weird stuff like this. I like to think of this episode as a predecessor to Scream Queens and everything. And this was a really hilarious episode. My family finally got cable. This was one of the first episodes I saw. I think episode 18 was the first I saw. I loved it so much. I recorded this on VHS back in like the day. And then 2 episodes later, the show got canceled. And I never saw it again until I found it on YouTube about 15 years ago. 15, 17, something like that. And then YouTube took it down. Somebody has recently just uploaded it back in March, I believe. So you might be able to find episodes there because you ain't gonna be able to find them no place else. It's not on streaming and the DVD is out of print. You can find the DVD used, but it's gonna cost you about $50 something. So I lucked out and I'm pissed because I want this show on DVD. And so like from the television into the DVD, some of the music has changed, especially in this episode. So it's a bit weird if you do listen to like, you get a copy of the DVD or you watch it on YouTube, somebody that got it from the DVD, the music is different. I hate that copyright crap, man. I like the original music and stuff. And so this was a really wacky episode. The show is silly in general. It got more sillier in the second season. It was more drama filled in the first, but by the second season, it started to get a little goofy and stuff. And this episode was just like a laugh riot. It was a show that wasn't afraid to laugh at itself, but at the same time, like I said before, it was ahead of its time, breaking barriers and stuff. But this episode is just hilarious. And I mean just hilarious. When I first watched it, I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know who none of these characters were. I didn't know what their plots were about. But you quickly kind of figure out what some of them, but not all of them. It focused on pretty much the entire main cast, except for that of Carmen and Sugar. They are the only ones who kind of just get left out. They're there, but they get left out. So the show starts off and we see Harrison. He has his folder and it says, I know what you did last spring break, and blood drips down on it from his nose because, I guess you know how people nose are like dry, they kind of like bleed or whatever. Now Harrison used to be part of the Outcast group. Then this show revolves around 2 different groups, a group of outcasts and a group of I guess like smart outcast type people, and a group of like popular people. They could never get along in the first season, then came together in the second because the 2 main leads became stepsisters. So now it's just one big group. So the group is in class, science class. And nobody wants to be there. And then all of a sudden, like, the teacher, Bobby Glass, who is just like hilarious and hates all of them, she tells them, for your essay, you have to write what you did for spring break and how many people you slept with. They're in high school. And she says she wants to know so she can judge them and everything. So everybody's writing down where they went and put a big fat 0, except for that of Harrison, who puts a 1. He went to Yemen. So Sam, his former crush and the stepsister of Brooke, asked him, what did you do for spring break at the locker? And basically, before he can even answer, he gets like shoved up against like the locker and handcuffed with Sam by that Bobby Glass, the teacher, and a character from the CDC played by the none and one only Jane Lynch. It was the first time I ever saw her. And so basically, she's all like, I tell you where he went. He went to Yemen and he caught the Rip Valley fever or something like that. And, because the whole nose bleeding and stuff like that. He's all like, no, I didn't get sick. It's just because of the school dry air. And so they're all like, well, we have to put you in quarantine. And so the CDC lady, she calls for an entire shutdown of the school in a very dramatic way. And so basically, these kids get the ultimate skip day. They got to stay in school, but, they really don't get to do no work or nothing like that. So the whole school is on lockdown. And even though it's on lockdown, the only people we see are like that of the main cast. It's like, where's everybody else at? So at some point in time, like Harrison and Sam, they're upset, talking about how they don't want to be there. And Sam's all like, oh, I might now die because of you. These two keep going at it because, like, he used to like her, she used to like him, but then she started dating George. George is our only black person of the show, and he's barely on there. Why? Because he's black, and this was the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's Ryan Murphy. So, yeah. And so, like, the CDC lady gives them like a canary, talking about if it dies, then we know the virus is in the room and it can kill y'all and stuff. And so, those two just constantly go back at it. And then he's all like, I'm not always thinking about you. Like, I found somebody. She's a great girl. And then she asked, like, did you sleep with her? And he's all like, no, because it wasn't you. Because he has a huge crush on her. These two constantly go back at it in season 1 and 2. To the point where, will they, won't they type of thing. So like after the awesome intro that I love so much, basically, the teacher is still pandering the students and all this other stuff, talking about how the fever can kill and all this other crap. While there, like, the kids are wondering who, like, Harrison could have got the virus from and everything. And so Mary Cherry gets a call on her cell phone. And Mary Cherry is like a hoot. She is insane. And so somebody is blackmailing her. They talk with a really scary voice on the phone and talking about, like, look at the picture underneath your desk. It's a picture of her, like, with a giant chicken over her. A person in a chicken costume. And talking about, I know. She is horrified for some bizarre reason. And the other kids don't understand why. And then all of a sudden the killer is like literally behind her talking to her and like, turn around. And then she's all like, can she be excused so she can run for her life? And she's just like, I don't care, just don't leave like campus grounds. And so we get this like hilarious chase sequence between her and the killer. The killer's wearing a black cloak, has a giant knife, white mask, red lips, shows the teeth, and has like bushy black hair. We know it's a white person underneath the mask because we can see the eyes and also the skin of the wrist. But we don't know who this killer person is. And when I say it's a hilarious chase scene, it's a hilarious chase scene. To the point where she trips the person up, kicks them, runs off, and then all of a sudden it's the CDC lady. So as the gang is like talking and everything, they're talking about how they can't reveal like, what they did for spring break. And April shows up and she kind of like gets the truth out of them. They tell her plain simple, don't tell nobody. See, what happened was this. They were supposed to go to MTV summer break like blowout. But, Mary Cherry, like, decided, well, no, she got some plane tickets from a place called Plummet Airlines, and they didn't like the name of it. So they decided to test their odds of, their likelihood of surviving. So when they got worried, they decided to blow off spring break at MTV and just have their own individual spring break for 2 weeks and not telling their parents where they was at. And so that's what they did and everything. Because if their parents find out what they really did, oh, they would be in trouble. So now it's late in the afternoon at nighttime, probably like night, around like 10 or so. And Mary Cherry is just like freaked out as they're all in their pajamas and like, they're brushing their teeth. Where exactly they got their pajamas from at the school's on lockdown? Heck if I know. And so Mary Cherry was just freaking out, talking about somebody's trying to kill me and everything. And so they don't believe her and think she's just being a spaz like always. And so she tells them no, because this person has incriminating proof of what she did for spring break. And see, they all did something they wasn't supposed to do for spring break. So they asked her, what's the blackmailing type thing, So she has to reveal it. She tried out for a horror movie, a very low budgeted one called Booze Cock Monster. Oh boy. So basically, it's a sleazy director, dude. The guy who's always recurring on the show. And he said it's a radioactive chicken. So it's like a giant guy in like a yellow chicken suit. And he's just like crazy and pecking at her, stuff like that. And so she's at the point she's like, I'll do anything to be in this movie, Mr. Director, man. Anything. She's like rubbing on his inner thigh and stuff. So basically she's laying on the couch. Here comes the like chicken. He's pecking at her with a bottle of wine in his hand. And he's talking about, say, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? And then she says it. And he's all like, no, not out loud. Crap like that. It is the dumbest thing ever. And so they think she's just hallucinating and making the whole thing up for like attention, and they leave her there. And so basically, after that, we get Sam and Harrison again. They're still talking like a lover squirrel and everything like that. And it's like they never really dated truly, but they're just like, he's upset that she's with George. And turns out her and George didn't have such a good spring break. But then all of a sudden, the bird kind of like tips over and dies. So this freaks Sam out, the way she wants to bust out. But he prevents her from breaking the window and everything. Because he believed the bird was sick when they first got it. Because, he's like a really smart person and stuff. He calms her nerves and everything. And they just start talking a bit more. Well, the killer's on the prowl again, and this time it's after Josh. Josh is Lily's boyfriend. He used to be Brooke's boyfriend, but then in the second season around that time, he started dating Lily. He was the popular kid. She was kind of like one of the outcasts. And so he's in the guy's locker room showering, and it's a really, really awkward scene and everything as he's trying to be as cutesy-wootsy as possible as he gets the call from the killer. And as the killer's about to strike at him, the soap flies out his hand, he bends over, and the killer misses him. And so the killer, for whatever reason, has him do the hokey pokey. And then tomorrow, you turn around, that's what it's all about. So then he gets chased and he's hollering like a woman, running and stuff. Slips on a banana peel of all things. And so at some point, as he gets away, he's talking to the CDC lady again, just like Mary Cherry did. And so, he goes back to the gang, and he's all like, it was a big, scary knife. It's like the kind that Chucky uses and stuff, or Michael Myers. And so, the CDC lady's all like, and this time we need to wind out the suspects and see who all we got. So they line up 3 suspects. And well, one is the teacher, Roberta Glass, and she talking about how she hates all those students and she wished they would end up dead of all things because they never thank her for like the education they get and all this other stuff. The next is April, who they nickname April Tuna, and they nickname her all kind of other stuff. She forgets her name, but then it's all like the reason why she can't remember what her name is because they're constantly calling her things like tuna breath and all this other crap. Then the third suspect is Nicole, of all things. But Nicole's all like, It can't be me because I have an alibi. And her alibi is that of Josh and Lily. So they have to confess to what they did during spring break, which can get him suspended. So basically, Lily and Josh were at school one night and they decided to have kind of like a picnic dinner to commemorate when they first met at school and when they fell in love. Well, he has a bottle of wine. Here comes Nicole, who threatens to blackmail them and rat them out and everything if, Josh doesn't do what she wants. And what she wants, a kiss right in front of Lily, because she's like all in love with him and stuff. And Lily's pissed, but she's all like, do it, baby. It isn't your mind she's taking, it's just your body or something like that. I'm like, God, pimping him out. So he goes in for the kiss, but then tells her he'd rather pull hair from the shower drain. And she makes him do it. And she informs Mary Cherry there's no way she can be the killer because, when Mary Cherry did her movie, this is when what's the name had their picnic, so she couldn't blackmail Mary Cherry by taking the picture and be at the school at the same time. So they know the killer is somewhere still loose and everything. So Sam and Harrison are talking again, and they're talking about George and why she didn't have a good time with him for spring break. Basically, she went to his mom's house and his grandmother was there. They had a nice dinner, everybody smiling and laughing. Until the grandmother asked, why are you spending spring break with your friend? Don't you have anybody special in your life? This upsets Sam because they're interracial and everything. Sam is white, George is black. And so Sam is upset because she knew at some point she would experience prejudice because of an interracial couple that's being her first, but she didn't think it would come from somebody from that of George's family. And he told her, my grandmother's old, it's a generational thing, she'll never understand it. Because he didn't want to tell her because his brother brought home a white girl and his grandmother got upset and pouted for weeks. May the grandmother rest in peace. I'm pretty sure she is dead now. She's the grandmother from the famous Jet Jackson, which was on Disney Channel. And so they broke up because of that. And so her and Harrison Harrison takes the opportunity to kiss Sam because, she's vulnerable and everything. And he just pounces on her and she lets him. Then all of a sudden the door opens. It's George. George is pissed. I mean, he's pissed. And, his girlfriend or ex, I should say, is kissing another dude. And he tells her plain and simple that he broke into school risking getting sick to see about her and everything. And it turns out his grandmother doesn't care if they bring home a white girl and stuff. What it was that the brother's girlfriend personality she didn't like. So Sam feels terrible and what's his name gets pissed and locks them back in the room. Harrison keeps talking about forget him, you have me, but she don't want him. So, he gets all upset and everything and just busts the window out and tells her to, just leave. You broke my heart and everything for the second time and I don't want you no more. So, the gang knows they need to trap the killer somehow. So they're all if they had some, hot girls for the killer to go after, then they could trap him. So Brooke and what's her name, Nicole, are wearing lingerie of all things. And so they're just laying out all sexy but then Brooke's all this is dumb and she doesn't want to do that and she leaves. And so when they come back, they're pissed because Nicole's not dead and it's been an hour. And so somebody realized that, wait, hold up. In slasher movies, the killer goes after virgins. Nicole's not a virgin. So they make Lily do it. So it's Lily and Josh just making out. And all of a sudden, April comes in with a knife, tiptoeing in. And they think she's the killer. But it turns out it's a rubber knife and she just wanted attention. So at some point in time, the killer comes back around and goes after the teacher, Bobby Glass. And it's funny because Bobby's all like, just put me out of my misery, like kill me now, because I'm tired of these students. And the killer's just like, man, screw this, it's not fun no more, because she wants to get killed. So then when she's complaining about the killer to like the rest of the group, all of a sudden the real CDC woman shows up. And so it turns out that the one they've been dealing with is the killer all along. But why is she pissed and want them killed? Well, we get a nice little flashback. And it turns out that like she had racked up some points to have her own spring break in a place called Sandals. And she only needed like one more, like, deal to seal. Well, when Mary Cherry canceled all those plane tickets, she was not able to go. She got furious, snapped, and wanted to kill them and stuff. I mean, that was just crazy to go after them because of that. But anyways, we get like George and Brooke. They're talking in the gym about what Sam and Harrison did, the whole kissing. And Brooke is very shocked and talking about like, she knows for a fact Harrison is not sick and doesn't have no like virus or nothing like that. And whatchamacallem, because she knows what he did for spring break. And she reveals it as they go and confront Harrison and Sam. Turns out that Brooke was supposed to go see her boyfriend Jamie. Her boyfriend went and hooked up with his ex, so she went and stayed with a hotel for the week. Harrison was in the hotel for a whole week. They found that out. They started watching TV and just started talking. They started flirting with one another and talking about how they can get back at Sam. Talking about how, we should like videotape what we're gonna do and then show her. So he's all like, what will we do on this video? And then they start like, making out, and one thing leads to another. Brooke is upset because she cared for Harrison, which is odd because she was the popular girl who would never go for an outcast. And so like he just can't stop thinking about Sam. So she realizes that he will never love her. And then she found out that he made out with Sam. Then she doesn't want him. And of course, Sam does not want him either. And Sam leaves him, only for him to soak and look really sad, like, knowing that he screwed up by trying to play like the game and everything, which is really unusual because Harrison was never really like a jock kind of guy. He was a nerd, a smart guy. And all of a sudden, towards the end of the season, all these girls just started liking him. Even Nicole at one point, who tries to run him and Brooke over with the car, leaving the show on a massive cliffhanger. Now, wasn't that spooky? Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.